The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PS&All Marketing Group, and this is season number 2, show number 36, and it is happening right now. Well, thank you. Thank you, studio audience. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Wow, rousing applause.
We weren't here last week. They missed you.
This is true. Well, thank you. But I will say that Dave Boyle did an awesome job with his Dave's dialogue, didn't he, Mr. Tim?
Yes, he did. It was an outstanding show with some great scouts.
Absolutely. Dave Boyle just did a fabulous job. Cyrus was on the show, and 3 wonderful Eagle Scouts. And I also found out, Tim, behind the glass, that you are or were an Eagle Scout. I guess once
you are always.
Right. It's sort of like a Marine. Once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout, right? Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed hearing your stories. And,
thank you.
And super. So thank you again to Dave Boyle. And if you're driving down to the Cape and you're listening to Paul Ponders on WATD right now, welcome back. And if you're sitting in traffic, just tune in and feel free to call in. We'll give the call-in number later on. But first, I just want to give a shout-out to my wife, Jackie. She's actually on the other side of the building. She's not in studio with us, but it's our anniversary. So 11 great years. Happy anniversary, Jackie. And look forward to spending the day with you as we travel around the South Shore and beyond. And I also want to give a shout out to Larry from Arlington, a loyal listener. Larry tunes in pretty much every Saturday, along with the likes of Mike on the North River, tuning in every Saturday. And Larry from Arlington and Mike on the North River know each other, so it's kind of cool. So I am excited to bring you another great season with my network of very knowledgeable contributors. We will continue to keep it real, hot and timely, South Shore and Cape and the Islands based, North Shore reference, but definitely full of Paul pondering thoughts. Over a month ago, we officially welcomed my media sponsor, Scott Albertson of Project142.org, and his dedication around the nation. So a shout out to Scott Albertson, and many thanks to Scott for all the great promotional things that he does for Paul Ponders for the podcast and also for his own shows. And if you have a chance, check out Project142.org, and you'll see something about something that Scott promoted, nonprofit in Africa, and also a great story with his episode from August 13th on a kingfisher bird that he encountered in New York City, as he goes to New York City every week to record his show. Now, as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as general manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden, and a huge shout out to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app, so hello to Chef Felipe. As always, we have lots of stuff going on this weekend at Pearl Street Station Restaurant. We've had a really busy week, which has been great, and I know I always say it, but it is true. As Malden's Pearl of the community for over 40 years, we have incredible staying power in the greater Boston area and the North Shore. So please venture over the Zakin Bridge, as my daughters say, the godforsaken bridge, and visit us. And Chef Felipe, those brownies you were making, sorry I didn't have a chance to grab the corner brownie, but those brownies you were making this morning just smelled so good. I would have worked it into my calorie count, and I want to wish you a great vacation, a well-deserved vacation. I don't know what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks, but I know we have a great staff behind you, but it's one of those things. It's always great to have you on the premises and laughing, joking, and just doing a great job with your wonderful culinary dishes and all. So have a great vacation, mi amigo. And, of course, I always give that shout-out to our team of Chef Felipe, Chef Joaquin, Pizziola Mohammed, Lily, Nicole, and Don for holding down the fort, and also Mitch for holding down the fort on this very busy day. So, as I stated earlier, it is season number 2 and show number 36, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of The Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is my executive consultant of the Paul Ponders radio show, and Arthur is out there adding to our list of sponsors and advertisers. So, Arthur, thank you for all that you do. And with us, of course, is Tim behind the glass, racing in.
Good afternoon, Paul. Here I am. Yes.
Hello, my friend.
Hi.
So what is happening on the racing circuit?
Well, last night, the Truck Series was supposed to race, but there was rain, there was lightning, so they did not race. But they're racing right now as we speak.
As we speak.
Yeah, they moved it to noontime today, and plenty of time to get ready for tonight's race under the lights for the Cup Series as well at 7 p.m. So lots of good stuff going on, and it was good racing last weekend as well. Yeah.
That's great. And I haven't been in studio in 2 weeks, but I will comment again. I did comment on it last time, but that schedule, that mock TV, what to do when it's dark. Okay, what do you watch?
No, when there was no racing.
Right, it was dark.
Yeah.
Right? It was
Yeah, it was dark on the racetracks. Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And what do you do? It was pretty creative.
Yeah, I don't know. I reached out to the Miles on Motorsports group chat to see what their lap times were for the Roundabout 500 on Sunday, but no one got back to me. You know, I took the road course from Stoughton over here, and it was good. It was good. No cautions, and yeah, it was all green flag.
Alrighty, That's nothing wrong with that, my friend.
No.
Absolutely. Well, it's really great to connect with you, and also too, I'm trying to work. And Rob Hackler, if you're listening, we're trying to get something, maybe a Pearl Street Station restaurant. That's why I was going into the studio before you went on the air with the news. But maybe August 22nd, maybe next week, if you're available next Saturday night.
Okay.
Okay, to come on up to Pearl Street Station. It isn't official yet. We'll confirm it next week or during the week. But it would be great to have you do karaoke, and you could have Chef Felipe's shrimp scampioli.
Yes, or anything else because the whole menu sounds wonderful.
And it really is. It truly is. Well, thank you, Tim behind the glass.
You're welcome.
Indeed. #Indeed. Now, at this point of the program, we have the Pod Pro Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Miss Shelley Wolf, global media firm, owner of Toolbox Entertainment, vice president of technology literacy for Pod Pro, a past Paul Ponders guest, episode number 35 out of the, 93, 94 episodes that I've dropped so far. But on the line, it'll be great to hear her voice, Shelley Wolf.
How you doing, Paul?
I am doing well, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That's a #Indeed.
#Indeed, exactly. And shout out to you and Jackie on your anniversary.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Jackie is walking by and she's waving and all, and she says thank you, but she's not in studio. Yeah. But
nice.
She's not across the table from me. But anyways, as I always say, but it is true. Okay, people do stop me. People email me and say, "That's Shelley Wolf. She's a smarty," and she is. And people are just loving your segment. And what do you have for us this week, my friend?
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're going to go into some new ideas. So one of them is, what does your TV know about you? Right? So the real question is your TV spying on you? Now, before anybody runs home and unplugs the TV, just let me explain what I'm thinking. Right? When we are talking a lot about tech tips about our smartphones, our computers, social media, and even AI collecting information about us, but there's also that computer that we sit in right in the middle of our living rooms, right? So our television, if you have a smart TV, meaning your TV connects to an internet or Wi-Fi and lets you use things like a Netflix, YouTube, or Hulu, you are on streaming services. So that being said, one thing that it does is it also collects information on how you're using it and what you are watching. But what I want to make a very important distinction right now is that when I use the word spying, I'm using that just to get your attention. I'm not saying anyone's sitting here in an office, in a back door, secretly watching you or while you sit on your couch. That is not happening. But they are talking and collecting information about you. So there's something called automated data collection, or what may be referenced as automatic content recognition, which is ACR technology, which recognizes information about what you're watching and how you're using your television is really important. Now, that's different from a human being secretly watched, right? But it's still something that I want us to understand and think about. So what does a smart TV actually know about you, and what does it actually collect on you, right? A smart TV is basically a TV, like I said, that where it's something that allows you to stream all your content, listen to music, use different apps on your TV. But again, some of us also are using voice commands. But here's the trade-off that we sometimes forget. When we connect something to the internet, information can possibly transfer back and forth both ways. So we're giving information and they're pushing information to us, right? So what does that look like? Well, depending on your television, streaming services and apps, and how your privacy settings are set up, information that can potentially be collected are things like what programs or content are you watching, what apps you actually use, what you might be searching for, how you interact with the television. So, for example, how often is it on? How often do you switch between different streaming apps, the device information, and a lot of this is used for different advertising or recommendations. So here's something I want people to think about because I find this very fascinating. Some smart TVs have something that's called the ACR we just talked about, automatic content recognition. Again, remembering that technical name is not important, but what is important is understanding what we're going to do on our televisions, right? So thinking about, is your television potentially recognizing what's playing on the screen? So, for example, like if you have on your phone, there's an app called Shazam. You can place it, you can hit the button on it, and it'll allow you to say what song are you listening to. ACR is something that's very similar to that for the content that you're running on your television. That information is then used to measure audiences, to make recommendations for advertising, but also they use the algorithms of what you're watching. So someone might say, now, does that really happen? Well, the truth is yes. So I also want to just point out a very important privacy act before we talk about all the tech tips and how to fix this, right? So in 2017, the FTC, or Federal Trade Commission, and the New Jersey Attorney General brought about a case involving a smart TV manufacturer called Vizio. The FCC said that Vizio had installed software on its televisions and collected viewing data from 11 million consumer TVs without consumers' knowledge and consent. Now, this simply information about what someone watched is different through a streaming app. According to the FTC's complaint, the technology captured information about video displayed on a television from sources including the cable and broadband set-top boxes, DVDs, over-the-air, and broadcast streaming devices. So Vizio actually agreed to pay out people, and that case then happened years ago, and privacy practices really began to change. Disclosures and technology have continued to evolve. So I'm bringing that up not to scare you, but to bring it up because it illustrates how important that we need to think that, again, television is also another internet-connected device that we talk about, and it's the tech that we use pretty much on a daily basis in most households. So the tech myth of the week is my TV is just a screen. It doesn't know what I'm watching. And if you have internet connected to your smart TV, that's not true anymore. Depending on your television and the settings that you've set up, they are able to collect that information. So that doesn't mean, like I said, somebody's sitting there watching you, but what we need to do is make sure we set our settings correctly. So what we want to do is talk about what does that look like. Again, they're not sitting there listening to you, but we do need to take a moment and look at our privacy settings. So if you have a television, you take your settings, you want to look for words that say privacy, terms and privacy, advertising, viewing information, viewing data. These are all in the settings. Some of the settings, they may also have the ACR that we talked about, right? Again, you just want to make sure that these things are turned off or not enabled, right? So the first thing that you want to do is if you're using like a Fire TV, an Apple TV, Google TV, or cable box, or even a gaming console, right? These areas are all areas that are set up. So you want to go in and set and remove allow capturing information. You can do that. So those are the keys. So you want to go into your privacy settings, on any of your devices. So I know, for example, I have an Apple TV. On that Apple TV, I can go into my settings and I can deselect the setting that allows it to collect information. Because a lot of times when we first set these settings up, we're just like, yep, everything's already preset. The systems run by themselves, and you don't have to worry about that. So again, you just wanted to go in and check your settings under privacy, your terms and privacy settings, advertising, viewing information, viewing data, personalization, or your ACR, and ensure that these settings, again, are set to not, they're turned off. And if you want to turn them back on, that's the option that you choose to turn back on if you want to share your information. So again, the goal really is just to understand what is turned on in your settings versus what you want information to go out. And some people really don't care about this, right? And that is okay. So, but again, I think it's really important for us just to think about how we utilize these softwares, what types of tech is really capturing information, and why you might see that information. So like when you watch a show, one of your favorite shows, and then all of a sudden it says, here's some recommendations. It's doing that based on algorithms of what shows you've already watched. So again, the software and updates, make sure you've got security updates done on your television as well. A lot of times you can set them to be automatic. You want to make sure that those are automatically set up. Those will updates can contain security fixes. Those are really important to make sure that those are set up. So for this week's tip, again, take 5 minutes and look at your, think about if your smart TV is connected to the internet, what your privacy settings are turned on, is viewing information or ACR enabled, do I have personalized advertising on? Did I not, a lot of people pay to not have advertising. Does my TV or remote have a voice control? So again, anything you are actually talking to or saying, hey, Siri, do this, it is capturing your voice over and over and finding the algorithm of what happens in your home. So again, tonight when you sit down with that remote, turn on your favorite show, remember you're not just watching TV anymore, you're using another internet-connected device, and just like the smartphone or a computer, it's worth spending those few minutes to understand how those privacy settings work. Technology should work for you as part of using technology confidently and making sure that the information that you're sharing and choosing is set to what you want to share.
Wow. That is an absolute mouthful, and that is just another great report. Just a quick question before we wind down, Shelley. The profile is pretty much built on many viewers, many people out there, and companies have an idea as to what your likes and dislikes are, et cetera, et cetera. So has the horse already left the barn and all that stuff? Should people still just do this, as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it right? The horse has left the barn. We've already probably given up so much more information than we would have liked to. But I still think that it's important to check those things off if you want to kind of stop continuing to provide the information, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, to me, I look at that as just an importance. It's like the more information we are putting out there, right, is really what's training a lot of these AI systems, the algorithmic systems, all the things, right? So when we talk about, AI or the robots are coming to get us, right? The more information we provide, right, that we don't want to think about the robots coming to get us, but the more that devices actually understand who we are as human beings, which can become, very problematic for many reasons. So, I do encourage people to, you've given away the information, but, take a moment and turn off those pieces of information. Not everybody needs to know everything, and you just kind of want to protect your own privacy. So,
sound advice right there, I'll tell you. So how do our listeners in Paul Ponders Land reach out to you?
Yeah, they can reach us at info@podproentertainment.com.
Okay, and Techie Talonzo is still doing those content reels?
He is. He's staying very busy with them. I haven't seen him for a couple weeks, so I think he is a little bit busy with those content reels. But again, that's what he loves to do, and he's just, I hear lots of comments and see lots of likes on his content he's putting out there. So again, he's always available for content creation, social media, podcasting. I know you guys just had a podcast the other night, and I'm looking forward to hearing the next new podcast that sounds very exciting about a book. So I won't give up the goods on that one, but I'm very excited, and he's doing well.
Awesome. Well, please pass along my regards. And Shelley Wolf, I want to thank you again for your just insightful tips and just being part of our show.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. And I will say, Tim, if you're going August 22nd for shrimp scampioli, let us know, because I just had it recently, and it was very, very good.
All right, yeah, if I have it, I will definitely give my review.
Fantastic.
And with that, that's a hashtag indeed.
The hashtag Imagine.
You got it. Shelley, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts, it's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you tried Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. And the call-in number and text number is 781-837-4900. And you could also find us in the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. So if you like Chef Felipe and my daughter Ann in California who's listening, shout out to Annie. Hope to speak to you soon. And hope you're doing well with your training for your Spartan event, your Spartan race. Good luck with that. And also a shout out to those nonprofits out there. And if you want to reach out to me, you want to be featured on the show, you could, in fact, just email me at paul@paulponders.com. And listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders and WATD shows. This past Sunday night, I just dropped a wonderful episode on Trappist beer. A friend of mine from the Malden area is a collector, and he's about to receive some sort of designation, which is worldwide, and he'll be like one of 24 people in the world with this Trappist beer certificate, and his name is Jerry Leone. But check out that podcast and all, and we also get to hear about the Trappist beer, the monastery, and all the just incredible libations that are coming out of those breweries, and also to Tim, the pairing of food, if you will, with the fish fryer and the chipmunk.
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Clam up on that one.
Come on, you got one more?
I'll take that hook, line, and sinker to just move on with the script.
I don't know. I tell you, this is all sounding a little fishy to me.
There we go. Well, that's why you need a Trappist there.
He's here till 1, folks.
Yes.
Tip your waiter.
There you go. And also, too, Shelley alluded to the fact that we just had a great podcast with the New York Times bestselling author Sarah Vladeck, and it was just a great episode, great interview. What a nice person. She's based in San Diego, and she wrote The Dangerous Shore. and it's really a great book. And her bestseller, her number one, is Indianapolis, and she's a naval historian. And she just this also I made a reference to Brockton, and it's really you have to listen to the podcast. There's the tease, but check out The Dangerous Shore. And special thanks to Scott Albertson for making the referral and the introduction to Sarah. So that was very cool. So at this point of the program, we have the segment of Health and Wellness Survival Tips with Ms. Sharon Filia. And Sharon is on the line, and we get to hear from Sharon live. Sharon? Oh, Tim has a call coming.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you, Sharon?
Okay, I'm doing pretty well. So you just mentioned about someone participating in a Spartan challenge, and that kind of dovetails with what we're going to talk about today.
How about that? Yes, my daughter Annie.
That's it. Oh, my gosh. All good luck to her. Those Spartan challenges are rough. Now, what we're talking about today are knees. Most people at some point in their life are going to have some type of pain, swelling, cartilage damage, joint damage. And before I get started, all of the information, most of the information today is culled from the National Institutes of Health, the Mayo Clinic, Sports Medicine, and Science Daily. So just going over the brief anatomy of the knee, you have your kneecap, which is called the patella, and then you have different ligaments that kind of hold everything together. At the base of your leg, you have a long bone called the tibia. So that extends from the knee down to the ankle. And then you have a bone that kind of comes out laterally, which is called the fibula. Now, interestingly, you can walk if you have a fibular injury. You cannot walk if you have a very substantive tibia injury because that's the bone that actually is weight-bearing. So a lot of people have something called osteoarthritis. Most people will have it at some point in their life, particularly athletes. So some of the causes of this are actually gender. If you're a female, because the hip is a little bit wider in a woman because women bear children, this causes a certain internal rotation of what's called the femur or the thigh bone, which makes knee injuries a little bit more common. Also, weight. If someone tends to be a little bit more overweight, there's a little bit more of this kind of load-bearing of the joints. Also, a person may have just a plain bone malformation. So let's say they have a vitamin deficiency, say rickets or something, and the bones are actually bowed out. That can cause unnecessary a sort of like differential where there's more weight bearing on the outside of the bone rather than the inside. And, of course, as I mentioned, overuse from sports, or if you have a very highly physical job, like, say, working at Amazon, or if you work in construction, if you're a waitress, anything where you're on your feet a lot, and, of course, the all-encompassing genetics. So generally, when someone has knee issues, what do you hear about? Knee replacement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oi, right? I'm speaking a little Yiddish now. Okay, oi. The knee oy vey. Okay, we have a full knee replacement, and we also have a partial knee replacement. These are very aggressive therapies. The surgeon literally needs power tools. They have to make pilot holes. They have to shave the tibial plateau. They have to shave the femur. Oh, it's a mess. And the risks of this are a little bit higher for blood clots, nerve damage, what's called a higher revision rate in case if something goes wrong, they have to go back in. And this is the real granddaddy. If you have knee replacement, you've got to jump on the PT very quickly, or something called scar tissue can actually cement your knee into a locked position. This is why the physical therapy post-knee replacement is particularly difficult. So what's new on the horizon? Well, now surgeons can actually rebuild cartilage. Did you know that?
No.
This is exciting. Okay. So there are a number of techniques where the surgeon can actually, they can do a couple of things. They can actually take chondrocytes from you, regrow them outside in the lab. The Mayo Clinic is doing this. And then going back into your knee, taking this sort of bioavailable fibrin glue and actually putting it right in your knee and having your knee rebuild its own cartilage. Oh, it's so exciting. So the Reclaim method has been approved by the FDA for this. It's called Reclaim, RECLAIM. The Mayo Clinic also has something called the MACI, the Matrix Associated Autologous Chondrocyte Implantation, where your cells are grown outside in the lab and then reimplanted, which I just mentioned. So these two techniques, Reclaim and MACI, MACI, are done by the Mayo Clinic. Now, according to my research, there may be other locations where this procedure can be done. We're here in Boston, and they actually have Mayo Clinic satellite locations right here. Another technique to help your knee is called the PRP method, protein-rich plasma. Now, what's really great about this technique is that it takes your own blood, it spins it down, and based on molecular weight, breaks out the plasma into a little plug. And this can be actually, they can actually take this and insert this into the knee. Now, this PRP can also be done for hair loss. Dentists also use this, like say if someone has a tooth extraction, they can actually put a plug of the PRP, of the protein-rich plasma, in the wound to help it heal. Now, there are a number of other techniques that are available. There's one called the Arthrex. Now, the bad news is insurance probably doesn't cover these techniques, and you're talking between $10,000 and $30,000. Now, this isn't to say that your insurance won't pay for it. However, you need to work with your surgeon to see if they can sort of figure out how your particular insurance can get you covered, especially if you're suffering from a lot of pain. Another new technique is meniscus implantation surgery. The meniscus is the pad in between, in that joint there. So the meniscus lies on, I believe, the tibial plateau, so actually the lower part of your leg there. And what happens, sometimes you have meniscus surgery because you tear it and the surgeon has to shave it. Now they have it so that a surgeon can actually put in a replacement. It's fascinating. I encourage your listeners to do their own research on this. What is important, first of all, is to get a proper diagnosis. If you have knee pain, you want to find out where it's coming from. Is it cartilage related? Is it ligament related? Do you have a bone deformity? Is there something genetic going on? So you want to identify what's going on with your knee or knees first. Then work with your surgeon or doctor, or with your doctor, to see which of these remedies can be of help to you, rather than just going full out for a knee replacement.
Wow, that is all good stuff there.
Yes.
And Sharon, I want to thank you again for another great report, and so detailed. And I also get emails in regards to your awesome reports on the health and wellness.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things that people are tuning into your YouTube channel, and they're seeing and listening to the Filia fall prevention method. Which is great. And
yes.
someone asked me, I saw someone up in Malden Square area, and they missed your presentation at the Malden Senior Center. But are you do go to a lot of senior centers?
Well, unfortunately, I mostly do private work because the demand is sort of there. I do occasionally. I give lectures on fall prevention. I do private work, and I work at private facilities primarily. However, if someone has a question, especially about this topic, this cartilage replacement is a game changer. Let me tell you. Because this means that it's less invasive, there's less chance of revision, faster recovery time, preservation of the joint. It is just great all around. I encourage all your listeners to really research cartilage replacement therapies. It is the new horizon for knee injury, knee pain. It can be for, depending on the therapy, there are age restrictions right now. However, it is a game changer because you don't have this super intensive post-operative pain and therapy, PT therapy, which I hear. I haven't had knee replacement, but I hear knee replacement PT is simply very painful. I've heard awful. So it's something to look at, and they're continuing to do studies on this, and it's great.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to start posting some of these wonderful reports on the PS&All Marketing Group blog. And I'm going to have to get really, really good at that. So we'll be in touch during the week about this. But Sharon Filio, again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
You got
Thanks
it.
so much.
Be well, my friend.
Okay.
Take care
Bye-bye.
now. Thank you. And with that, we're going to hear from our sponsors, and we have a special guest on the line.
Have you tried Bryantville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were three deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number is 781-837-4900. And at this point of the program, we usually have the financial wing of Olympic Proportion, sponsored by PS&All Marketing Group and Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, with Mr. Paul Crowley of Riverworks, and Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, senior loan officer. But both gentlemen are tied up this weekend, and they're not able to call in. But I do have a very special guest on the line, and he's no stranger to the Paul Ponders world. He's a dear friend, and he's been on many times, and we hope to be hearing more from our guest, Mr. Bob Hilberg, on the line. Bob from Foxborough today. Bob?
Dear friend, so are you, my friend. Beautiful day in Foxborough. They had a great practice. Front row, watching the 5-yard and 10-yard passes into the end zone. Guys are making catches and doing the tippy toe into the end zone. It was spectacular. The crowd's going nuts.
That's great. For those listeners out there who have not heard about Bob Hilberg, or met Bob Hilberg, one of the most genuine people you will ever meet, and also to
that's nice.
absolutely. Well, it's all true, my friend. But it's one of those things that you are one of the most thorough, analytical, research-based people I know, because you put a fair amount of time in researching the Boston Patriots, the New England Patriots, and writing a couple of books on the Patriots. In fact, your works are in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, it's a labor of love. Anytime you put something into it, my sister and some of my friends say you're insane because you're obsessed that you want to do the right job and you want to do it complete and thorough. And that's kind of what you should do in life anyways. You got a job to do it right, do it the first time, and do as best you can. So although it took me 20 years to research every single play of every single game and know something about every single player of 1,600 players, it's been fun to meet everyone and tell stories about some of these guys that their whole career is 1, 2, or 3 games, or they made one moment where they got some publicity or something like that. So life is a journey, and if you can do something to make someone else's life special, I started doing the research and said some 16-year-old girl is going to be excited about this, and I met a 16-year-old girl at a book signing in Marblehead, and she said, I want to know more than the boys, and she bought my first book, Total Patriots. And then I said, some 80-year-old guy probably wants to talk about a game in the 60s with Babe Parilli and Gino Cappelletti, and that happened to me at Lake Winnipesaukee in a cafe where I did a book signing there, and a guy drove 2.5 hours in a beat-up old truck to talk about a game back in 1964. So as you're serving others and thinking about, well, what does this mean to somebody else, you want to put together a nice story, a nice package, and bring out the best. So this whole thing has been just a labor of love and a lot of fun.
It really has been. And when I saw you and Millie over at Pearl Street Station Restaurant the other evening, had a great chat with both of you. And please send my regards to lovely Millie.
Absolutely, thank you.
I said, the Patriots are starting up the preseason, Bob. We tend to have you on more during the football season and all because, you are just really a person of so many stories and all. And you're at training camp right now. And I would say that way back when, BITD, back in the day, as my daughters would say, you were probably at Smithfield, Rhode Island, or were you even at other, like BU, or where did the Patriots have their training camps?
They had a training camp at UMass first, in Amherst. So their first training camp was July 4th, 1960, and they had 350 guys try out.
Wow.
And a lot of them were truck drivers and welders and just big fat guys that wanted to try. And they'd get cut, but it took them a while to get back to Boston because they had buses and people driving cars back and forth. Sorry, I'm in the parking lot here. And they narrowed it down to 33 players, but they were at UMass. Then they went to Andover, Phillips Academy in Andover, and that's where Belichick actually went to school for a little bit. It's prep school, and then they ended up in Smithfield, Rhode Island, North Smithfield, Rhode Island, Bryan College, before they moved here to Foxborough, and they've been in Foxborough here for 27 years, something like that. So they've only had 4 or 5 camps, but it's pretty cool that they have a practice facility here right next to the stadium, whereas the Bryan College in Smithfield is about an hour from here. So when guys had to work out, they had to go to the YMCA or they had to go to a local club to do the Nautilus back in the 70s. Patriots didn't have any of that kind of equipment and facilities and you're seeing some videos that just come out about the new stuff that they're having here at Gillette Stadium for the players in the locker room and that stuff. They're finally getting some upgrades there here at Gillette.
Interesting. So when would they have one game under their belt? They tied the other night. We saw We saw some field goals made. We saw some missed field goals. We saw some exciting plays with Tommy Cuts, or whatever his nickname is.
Tommy DeVito, yeah. Right?
Tommy DeVito, right. It's one of those things that cuts are forthcoming. When is the first round of cuts?
Well, they generally cut people here and there all the time, but they still got another week or two.
Gotcha.
They still got 2 more preseason games, but they got to get the 95 guys down to 53. Some around the end of August, probably August 30th, something like that. So And then chances are some of the guys that cut that will end up on other teams, and we'll take guys from other teams too. The first game that starts the season is September 9th. So
On a Wednesday, huh?
yeah, Wednesday at Seattle, in Seattle. So it's the first Wednesday night game that they've ever played, which is
I would
really
think so.
weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, why is
Yeah.
that? Because it's just a rematch of the Super Bowl.
Is at the Super Bowl, and they want to see how Wednesday night works. But you got to do it at the beginning of the season because
Right.
when you play a game, you need 2 days to just recuperate and get your body. So these Thursday night games, even though you've got an extra couple days the week after, that's tough for players. And I don't know how long that Thursday night game is going to last with the abuse that these players take. So in a 17-game season, it's kind of tough to pace all that stuff out of staying in shape throughout the whole year.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, so we'll be ramping up some sort of game day specials. We haven't really officially come up with the game day specials for this season yet at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, but I think it may involve wings, it may involve pizza, but you never know what else it may involve.
Well, I got to give my wife credit because, writing a book and then working in the press room for the 12 hours that you're at a game and then had a full-time job back in 2007, 2008 when I was writing my book. My wife didn't have any idea what a first down was, what a sack was, and they actually practice plays. And then the Seattle game where Malcolm Butler came out and made the play and turned the whole game around in the 30 seconds left. And I showed her that they practiced that play, and we actually get on stage sometime and we do a slow motion of that play. And she's, oh, my God, now I understand why you're so passionate about football, that it's technique and that it's discipline and you're doing your job and being at the right position and then making the play and catching it and then the whole place changing and the whole world changing with that Seattle game. So a lot of people say that was probably the most interesting Patriots game, other than the first one we beat the Rams. But to win that game and Tom Brady jumping up and down. So this probably going to see a lot of that for this opening day against Seattle. Never mind the last Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about Malcolm Butler again in a couple of weeks.
Right, exactly. Well, we're going to have you come into Pearl Street Station Restaurant and maybe do a podcast. So we'll start with the Paul Ponders podcast anyways, because you just have so much to add to the equation, my friend.
Yeah, so shout out to Wiggy for getting inducted into the National American Italian Hall of Fame.
Yes, exactly.
He made a huge play, in the Super Bowl, allowing us to beat the Rams. So Wiggy's a local hero, and his nickname was always open, 7-Eleven. I'm always open. Show me the ball.
How convenient, really.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So that's coming up in October. So that's
yes.
him and Tony Maserati and Johnny Peasy. I mean, that should be a great event.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that.
At the Kowloon.
The Kowloon Restaurant in Saugus. And we'll have some Kowloon wings. I was with Bobby Wong the other night, and Bobby's doing great. And his tiki bar over at Revere Beach is working out very well. And all, but for those listeners out there, the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame Massachusetts chapter is actually having another Hall of Fame ceremony, and that's coming up on October 25th at 1 o'clock at the Kowloon. And Jermaine Wiggins, Wiggy, will be going in, and he's going to be sharing the stage with Tony Maserati.
Tony Maz.
Yeah, absolutely. And Johnny Peasy is getting the special Tony DeMarco Specialty Achievement Award. So Johnny Peasy, the comedian, Johnny's been on the show and all, but more details will follow on that. But Bob Hilberg, I just want to thank you again for being on. How do our listeners out there get your book, Total Patriot, and the other book you wrote? I'm forgetting the name right off the top of my head, but please take it away.
Relive Patriots History. Relive Patriots History. The whole idea of that, you pull up the page and you talk about it. Relive a game, a moment, a story, an event. And then Total Patriots is just the total encyclopedia You can get them both on Amazon. They're fun things. One's 800 pages that talks about every player and all kind of stats and stories and trivia and pictures and football cards. And then Relive Patriots History is a little bit more detail about some of the highlights of each player's life on the football field for the Patriots. So a lot of fun putting that together. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Bob, I hope that isn't your car alarm going off and all, but I want you to take care of that. But I thank you, my friend, and we will catch up with you soon, okay?
All right. God bless, and go Pats. Thanks.
You got it. God bless Pastor Millie. Thank you. I want our listeners to stay tuned for the next program, which is going to be a split program. Ron Dwyer is not here today, but it's going to be split with Tim behind the glass and Larry Nelson from 4 to 7. But Tim, you're on 1 to 4. Listeners can check out my websites, but thanks again to Tim, Arthur, Shelley, Sharon, Bob, and our advertisers. But really thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Here's to another great season of Beyond. #Indeed.